Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as always on a Friday, we're having a look at weather for the next month, and that's going to take us just about to the beginning of October. So see what JMA and CFS V2 models have to say about weather for the next 4 weeks in a moment. Coming up later on today, we'll have the week to 10 day video update. So that's going to include all of the regular features, and we'll bring you an update on what's happening in the tropics in terms of tropical storms and hurricanes and all of that kind of thing. Now, I said that we would do the evaluation for the summer forecast today. I'm going to do that tomorrow. That'll be the first video tomorrow morning. Around 10 AM, we will evaluate the summer forecast, and also, of course, I've got weekend forecast and a week 10-day video update as well. And then on Sunday, we'll have the second winter update coming up. So, going to be a busy old weekend of updates, I'm sure. But starting us off this Friday is JMA Friday. So we're going to begin having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the JMA, looking at the North Pole and Arctic view down. So the North Pole is around there, the Arctic around there, and the mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. Blue is extrapolated to below average heights, which is low pressure, yellow, orange and red, extrapolated to above average heights, which is high pressure. These will break down to week periods. The first week period will take us from the 6th through to the 13th. Of September. The coming week will have below average heights up to the north, a lot of low pressure to the north of the country, with above average heights to west of southwest. And that leaves us bringing in this sort of westerly type flow. It means the driest conditions on offer this week will be in the south and southwest. The wettest, most unsettled conditions will be in the north. Over time, that high pressure probably gets more influential. We see it on week 2 anomaly, so this is the 13th through to the 20th of September, and we see then that the area of above average heights, a high pressure, is more or less coming in over top of the country. So this is a much more settled period through the middle part of September, with the jet stream being pushed northwards. High pressure takes over, and there'll be a lot of dry and fine weather in with that. Temperatures will be pleasantly warm by day, possibly a little bit on the cold side by night. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, taking us from the 20th of September to the 4th of October. I mean, signs that the high pressure is beginning to pull back into the Atlantic. Maybe this is a 2-weekly anomaly, might be transitional. We see the high pressure above average heights sort of centering to the west of the country. There's no particular area of low pressure, but this would seemingly imply that jet stream is probably starting to move southwards, and so it might be transitioning into something rather cooler and more unsettled perhaps by the end of September. This is a tropical and mid-latitude view, so the North Pole is off the chart on this view. It's up here, but of course we just had a look at that view down. And the UK and Ireland in the top right hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. So a reminder of the week 1, 500 millibar heights only, taking us from the 6th to the 13th of September. Above average heights in the Atlantic to our west southwest, as below average heights as low pressure up to the north. And so jet stream doing something like that. Most unsettled conditions in the north and west, driest in the south and southwest. Temperature anomalies in the weekend, a bit cooler than average, slightly below average temperature anomalies, because the jet stream and the flow is aligned northwest to southeast. Precipitation anomaly is rather drier than average in the weekend. So not particularly unsettled, but it is a little bit on the cool side. And then go through to week 2, which is the 13th to 20th of September, and the above average heights then centre over the top of the country. So obviously that's settling down a lot, turning mainly dry. Temperature anomalies are a bit above average. It's a warmer than average week coming up there. Not big deviation, but it's certainly a bit above average, and it also looks dry as well. So the middle of September shaping up to be warmer and drier than average. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which takes us from the 20th of September to 4th of October, so just into the beginning of next month. The above average heights then pull out to the west of the country. Maybe, there's no low pressure signals really, but maybe signs that jet stream is starting to shift southwards a little bit. Temperature anomalies are still coming out a little bit warmer than average. Again, not a big deviation, but it is slightly on the milder than average side. And precipitation anomalies just showing that Scotland, northern parts of the country, beginning to go a bit wetter than average. It's still dry than average in the south, but I say it's a transitional period, so it could be something like week 3 is still dominated by high pressure, and then week 4, possibly at the end of September into the beginning of October, that high pressure begins to pull away, and we may be going into something more unsettled and autumnal then, perhaps. Something like that could be going on, but it certainly looks like it's going a bit wetter than average for Scotland, whereas England and Wales still dry than average as the high pressure is gradually being eroded. Let's have a look at CFS V2, see how that compares. So again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 6th to the 12th of September. The coming week with below average heights extending from the north down to the east of us. Above average heights pulled out into the middle of the Atlantic and also to our northeast. Jet stream is doing something a little bit like that. So again, rather cool, rather showery, but over time that high pressure to our west-southwest becomes more influential. That's week 2. It's the 13th to the 19th of September. Above average heights just to our southwest. A trough of low pressure in over Scandinavia. It's not quite settling down as much with the CFS this morning compared to what the JMA is showing. There would still be influence from the jet stream with that, particularly for northern parts of the country. So not quite as much influence from high pressure there through the middle of September compared to what the JMA suggests at the same time frame. Then we go through to week 3. It's the 20th, 26th of September. The high pressure then is going up to Greenland. So signs of a return of northern blocking. Now there's no particular area of low pressure around, but with the high pressure up there, you'll probably think that through here we may have low pressure. Doing something like that with the jet stream. So that might actually be a little bit more unsettled and cooler than it might at first appear based on the 500 millibar height anomaly. And then we're into week 4, which is the 27th of September to the 30th, to the 3rd of October. That is, it's the 27th of September to the 3rd of October with above average heights sort of backing over the country, this time to our northeast. So high pressure is really moving around its central position. That would start to wind into the east. So east is at the beginning of October, not going to be overly warm. May actually be a little bit on the chilly side. Let's have a look at the temperature anomalies then. So week 1 temperature anomaly from the 6th to the 12th of September is below average, a cooler than average week coming up, very significantly so through central parts of Europe. Week 2, which is the 13th to the 19th of September. Now, this is where the JMA is showing things settling down and warming up, but the CFS actually still has it cooler than average through this middle week of September, the 13th to the 19th. It's below average temperature anomaly then. Week 3 goes closer to average, so we begin to lose those colder than average temperature anomalies in the 3rd week. Then by the time we get through to the up to the 4th week, which is the 27th of September to the 3rd of October, we're going above average. Not sure it would be all that warm, though, with winds coming in from the east at the end of September and the beginning of October. I don't see why it should be particularly a warm wind direction. But that's what model is showing this morning, a warmer than average for the very end of September and the beginning of October. It takes us a long while to get there. Then we go through to precipitation. So week 1, rainfall from the 6th to 12th of September is close to average, possibly hints of being ever so slightly above average in the north. Week 2 is dry than average down to our southwest, but wetter than average to the north of the country from the 13th to 19th of September. Week 3 just goes to average. That often happens with these charts as we begin to lose the signal the further out we go. And then we keep that going into week 4 as well, which is the 27th of September to the 3rd of October. Again, very close to average, no particular deviation. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag today. We have got the suggestion that things are going to turn drier and warmer through the middle part of September. But the CFS in particular is a little bit unsure about that, I think, this morning. Actually, it still looks rather on the cool side, and for the north, anyway, a little bit showery throughout middle week of September. The JMA is much more bullish about building in that high pressure. Again, where we go into the second half of September, that is also causing quite a lot of uncertainty, I think, within the model output. So, as I always say, September is a very uncertain month to forecast for due to what's happening in the tropics. I suspect that is playing quite a big part on what we're seeing here within the model output. It doesn't look like we're going to be in for anything overly dramatic with this September. I think it's shaping up to be a rather benign sort of month with just not a lot going on either way. So it's not going to be a particularly warm month, but neither is it going to be a particularly cold month. It's not going to be a particularly dry month, but it won't be overly wet. It's just going to be one of those very typical quiet Septembers that don't have a huge amount happening. I think that's where we're going with this September. So all in all, it could finish up very, very close to average for temperature. Probably it will be drier than average in the end, but yeah, it's not looking like a particularly exciting month, I have to say. Maybe things will liven up as we get into October. Right, well, that's it for JMA Friday. Remember, if it's just a snapshot of what these models are showing today, they could all look very different next week. We'll be back later on with your week to 10-day video update, so come back for that then. The verification of summer forecast will be released first video up tomorrow. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.